Today you're going to learn some different tips, some different strategies that you can use when you're comparing numbers that have decimals. So the first strategy is to think about where the numbers would fit on a decimal number line, on a number line that has decimals. So we have 75 hundredths and 25 hundredths. So I've drawn a number line here. So we're going to put the 0 and the 1, and our halfway point in between would be 5/10. So be sure to fill that in on your example, your number line in your chart. So if I think about where 75 hundredths would fit, it would come about here on my number line, and 25 hundredths would be about here. So I can see that 75 hundredths is greater than 25 hundredths. So I would put my greater than symbol. So I would read that 75 hundredths is greater than 25 hundredths. Another tip when you're comparing numbers with decimals is to think about money. So turn your numbers that you're looking at into dollar amounts. So instead of 4 and 89 hundredths, I can think of it as $4.89 and $4.24. That might help you be able to compare them easier. I know that if I have $4.89, 89 cents is more than 24 cents. So 4 and 89 hundredths is greater than 4 and 24 hundredths. Another tip is to line up your decimal points. So here when I look at my numbers, I see I have a 4-digit number and a 3-digit number. So I want to line up those decimal points. So that means that my decimal points need to be right on top of each other. So I have 12 and 87 hundredths and 5 and 93 hundredths. Remember, when we're comparing numbers, we always start comparing on the very left. So that has an imaginary 0 there. 1 is more than 0. Or you can think about if you covered up your decimals, 12 is more than 5. So 12 and 87 hundredths is greater than 5 and 93 hundredths. Last tip that you can use when you're comparing decimals is to put an imaginary 0 in the hundredths place. So again, we've got here we have a 2-digit number and a 3-digit number. So 2 and 7/10 is the same number as 2 and 70 hundredths. If we think about what that number means, if the 7 is in the tenths place, it means I have 7 tens. And each one of those is worth 10, so that makes 70. So now it's easier to look at 2 and 70 hundredths compared to 2 and 39 hundredths. 2 and 70 hundredths is greater than 2 and 39 hundredths. So I could also say 2 and 7/10 is greater than 2 and 39 hundredths.